much for either tuning in live or catching this replay. If you are catching a replay, please comment below with the word replay so I can come back and greet you and thank you for watching. Welcome to session 3 of Coach Continuing Education Month here at the Power Collective. We are going live all month long, about 3 times a week. Plus, we have a series of posts and reels and all kinds of stuff coming for you to help you to continue to grow and expand your online coaching and course practice. If you are new to this series and you haven't been caught up, you can catch the replays over on our Instagram page. We do have a series option under our videos where you can find all of the videos underneath, and also a playlist over on YouTube. Today we're talking about content and content authority, content creation, and how you can begin to command more authority with your content. As people are coming into the room, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Kashira Moffitt. I am the owner of the Power Collective, which is my online coaching and consulting practice. I specialize in working with both new and emerging coaches on launching and selling their very first high-ticket coaching offer with organic marketing. And I also work with more experienced coaches who are ready to scale on diversifying their revenue, diversifying their income, stepping into that CEO seat, and fully living the limitless life they deserve. And you can learn more about me at thepowercollective.co. Hey Lisa over on Facebook. So before we get into the session, I want to let you know that we do have a free guide available for you this month, brand new. It's called the Profitable Coach Action Guide. So if you want to go ahead and grab a copy of that, you can click the link in my Instagram bio or go to the link that's right here on the screen. So as mentioned, we are talking about how to build more authority with these content tactics. And I wanted to talk about content today because content arguably takes up the bulk of your time as an online coach. The 2 biggest time consumers, coaching and marketing, right? And so we spend so much time trying to conceptualize this content, creating the graphics for this content. We're trying to find the right person to outsource that to. We're trying to find the right templates. Then we're spending time writing all of these captions, coming up with what we're going to say in videos and podcasts and emails. And I mean, the list goes on. Then you have to get the stuff scheduled and then still show up to coach. And there's nothing worse than spending all of that time creating this marketing material for it to fall flat and for you to feel like you've been lost in the noise. So I want to share with you some things that you can do to not get so lost in the sauce, but also ensure that your content is in alignment with the actual goal of it. As a coach, one of the things you have to be cognizant of is you cannot blend in. You cannot just sound like everybody else. You can't just simply show up and agree. If you really want to be a standout coach, a coach that's sought after, whose opinions are valued, you need to actually have opinions. You need to actually have unique perspectives. If you want to be viewed as a thought leader, you have to share your own unique thoughts on a consistent basis. There's a reason why a lot of the top CEOs of huge companies have blogs, have podcasts. They're always interviewed. They're always called by CNBC to give their perspective on what's happening in the market, or they're asked to share their morning routine every single year with Forbes. And it's not every single CEO, but it's a lot of the same people over and over again. And there's a reason for that. Those CEOs that are tapped consistently are viewed as thought leaders in their space. I'll give you a very easy example in the social media space, right? So a lot of people look to, for example, Gary Vee. Right? A lot of people either love him or hate him. A lot of people really like him, and they look to him whenever they're trying to figure out how to stand out when they're in their content online, right? And it's because he has authority in this space. When he talks, people listen. People will quote him as a source when it comes to content strategy, right? So when you think about your position in your industry, in the online space, how are you showing up on a consistent basis to be viewed as that authority? How are you showing up so that people are now quoting you? They're referencing you. They're talking about what your perspective is as a reason for why they are now choosing to do something or have a certain approach. That's what I mean by commanding and building that authority. But that does not come by just posting one time. That doesn't come by simply just completely outsourcing marketing altogether and not having a hand on it. Because your social media manager is great at social media, but they have no clue about your niche. They can't be the thought leader for you. You need to have a strong relationship with whomever is managing your marketing as well. So let's get into these tactics. The very first thing I want you to think about when it comes to commanding authority with your content is you actually need to have content goals. Now that probably sounds simple and you're like, girl, what are you talking about? I have content goals. Most people don't have content goals. Most people have revenue goals, client goals, right? Like they know how many people they want to have in their program. And because they know how many people they want to have in their program, they just jump on social media and just start marketing, just start pushing, just start whatever. And not really understanding that in the coaching world, making a post does not directly equate to getting a client, because we don't sell the kind of products that somebody can go and add to a cart and just buy, right? There is typically a sales process, a sales system. Later on this month, when I get to our more like advanced level content, I'm going to be talking about must-have systems for the scaled coach, because that's something we need to be cognizant of. Our industry don't work like that. We're not selling a shirt that people can see a picture of it, go to their cart, add it to their cart, check out, buy, and get it in the mail without us ever having to talk to them or be involved. Our content is, first of all, the first impression, then it's the relationship builder, then it's the nurturer, then it's the objection overcomer, and then it's the set of directions on how to take the next step. So with that being said, we can't lean on our revenue goals to be our content goals. So you need to identify what purpose does your content serve, and at what point in your sales process does your content come into play. And if you're using multiple platforms, again, really thinking about what is the goal of each platform. For example, if you're really heavy on TikTok, you know that on TikTok, if you have under a certain amount of followers, there's a little bit of limitation there. You don't really have long caption space. You don't get live streaming. So with TikTok, if you're a coach, you may get on that platform to expand your reach, but you may feel like that platform is really there to get people over to your Instagram. And over on your Instagram is where you're going to do the nurturing. And then from there, that's when they go to your email list and so on and so forth. So when we think about that, we can now break down the goals of our post. What is the purpose of these live streams? The purpose of these Instagram posts that we're scheduling for this day? What do we want to happen for that? Do we have a goal of a certain amount of DMs we want to get from it, or a certain amount of clicks in our bio to a very specific landing page? Do we want to see more shares, more saves, things that help us understand that our content is really resonating? You have to decide what kind of metrics make the most sense for you. Because again, if you're simply just looking at the results of your content in the terms of dollars and cents, you're really missing out on an opportunity to continue to enhance your content. You're not looking deep enough into those metrics. So then the next step from there is to then take an audit of what you already have. This is going to require you to sit down for a couple hours and actually do a deep dive into your analytics and your insights. Go through your posts from the last year or so, or if you've been in business less than that, however far back you can go. But I want you to begin to go back through those insights. And it's actually better to do this on the app because you can do a better filtering than you can on the web-based version. But I want you to begin to look at your highest performing content. And no, I'm not talking about likes, okay? I want you to look at your content that performed the best when it came to saves, shares, link clicks, DMs. And DMs may be hard to figure out, but DMs and also comments, because the posts where people are now taking action are the kind of posts you want to have more of. Because again, the nature of our business, people need to go to our sites and either book a call or submit an application or submit some kind of form to get in touch with us. So if people are not taking simple action on your profile, like commenting, sharing, DMing, they're not going to take more complex action like submitting forms X, Y, and Z. So that's why I want you to begin to look at those action-based engagement metrics versus the easy like and keep swiping type of engagement metrics, so that you can easily do more of that. And I want to emphasize here, don't be afraid to reuse content. Nobody's gonna know if you recycled that post from last year. And 9 times out of 10, you need to update it a little bit anyway to refresh your messaging. But this is where you want to begin to build your own content library. I know buying templates and prompts is really popular, and it definitely helps if you have some writer's block. But if you've been in the content game for a while, you need to start building up your own content library, your own content prompts, things that you know work really well and will always get a response from your audience. So if this is making sense to you, please let me know in the comments. You can give me a thumbs up, a yes, a one, or anything in the comments. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to comment them below. So from there, number 3, I talked about this in my Facebook group this morning. If you're not in the Power Collective group on Facebook, please join us. But the next step is we have to figure out who we're talking to. This is where we really want to emphasize our buyer persona. And I'm not going to teach you how to figure out who your ideal client is today. But I do want to emphasize this because people will say all the time, well, I know who my ideal client is. I know who's the best fit for my program, but you're not speaking to them online, right? You may have this like high achieving, high caliber X, Y, and Z person for your ideal client, but on social media, you're speaking to your friends, you're speaking to your family, you're just speaking to anybody. You're not posting things that would let that kind of person know that this is for them, or you're posting things that but like I want to say like cheap shots, but that's kind of rude. But you're posting things that you know will get likes, like affirmations and quotes that is nice, but it doesn't really align with the niche that you're in, and you're doing it so often, or it's like your primary content. So your page looks more of like a meme page or a quotes page versus the page of a coach who serves this type of audience, right? So we have to get really clear on who we're talking to and keep this profile in mind when you're creating every piece of content, down to your reels, your stories, your live streams, all of that. If we're casting our net too wide, not only are we going to attract all of the wrong people, but we're going to push away the right ones, where the right ones won't even be around for you to make the pitch for your offer because they're already turned off, right? So again, I'm not attacking you if you post affirmations, because I love affirmations, but I want you to begin to be way more intentional with your space and recognize that, social media is moving really, really fast. There's updates and shifts and changes every day, and more people are online now more than ever. So we have to really be thinking about the competitiveness of being seen and how increasingly difficult it is to get somebody to stop scrolling and then to read and then to take some kind of action. And so every time you post, this is a new opportunity to make somebody a believer. So now, instead of posting filler content, I want you to begin to post more intentional content. Looking at every post as a way to build and command more authority. This will save you time on the back end too, because you're no longer going to be in Canva creating graphics that won't make you any money, that won't move the needle, that won't drive things forward for you. So the next part of creating more authority with your content that is really, really important, especially today, is that consistent posting schedule. And I know you all are tired of hearing about consistency, but look, let me just be very, very honest with you. I'm very, very candid. Nobody wants to hear this, but you need to post more frequently. You need to post more frequently. No, that doesn't mean 5 times a day, but more than the 2 to 3 times a week that you might already be doing. And the reasons for that, again, what I just talked about, things are shifting and changing. Things are moving increasingly fast. There is more competition now more than ever. This is nothing to be afraid of, but you have to step your game up. This is, you no longer have the time or the opportunity to be mediocre. You cannot be half in and half out. You need to be all in and really committed to this, or not committed to this. And no, it's not going to break your back to make 2 or 3 more posts, right? It's just going to take you more discipline and commitment, because you all know I'm the fan of batch creating. If you've been watching my videos, you know when I post my reels, there's probably at least 4 or 5 where I'm wearing the same outfit and the same makeup. You think I'm sitting up here just making reels every single day? No, I'm literally creating at a bunch at a time, right? There's a reason for that, because I know how time consuming it is. So I actually have dedicated time slots for filming, recording, editing, whatever in my calendar on purpose, because that is now what's required. It is not optional. And your ego is going to tell you, I don't need to do this. This is just trendy. Everybody else is doing it, and that's not authentic to me, and your ego is going to have you broke. Your ego is going to have you out here being overlooked. Now, I am not saying to not be authentic to yourself. You need to be authentic. You need to have integrity. And you need to find a way to put your own unique spin on how to use the various features on these platforms. But what you do have to do, though, in addition to that, is do it consistently. You have to do it consistently. That's just point blank, period. And you have to take advantage of the new features of the different apps, which is why I say if you struggle with social media, or you don't have help with social media, or you're just new to it altogether, you need to pick one or two platforms and no more than that and dominate it, right? Yes, you see me everywhere, but I've been in business for 8 years. I have time to be everywhere. If you don't have that, you need to dominate those platforms. So stop avoiding reels. Stop avoiding podcasting. Stop avoiding live streaming. Stop avoiding email marketing. Like, stop avoiding tech. Like, whatever it is, stop avoiding it, and instead find a way to put your own spin on it. No, you do not need to get on reels and dance. No, you don't have to get on here and point. No, you don't have to get on here and do things that are not authentic to you, but you do need to get on here and show out and be uniquely you, divinely you, show off your thoughts and your skills and what makes you amazing as a coach, because again, you want authority, but you don't want to show it. You want to be a leader, but you don't want to show up and lead. At the end of the day, things are different. The steps that were required to build a business successfully 5 years ago is no longer the way. I mean, look, we're still in a global pandemic. Things are just different. And the way we need to show up is different. And this is where you need to just embrace that or try something else, right? So you want to set more of a consistent schedule. There is no right answer to what consistent looks like for you. You can definitely begin to just look within your own audience, your own analytics to see days and times that make sense. But the beauty of a consistent schedule as well, in addition to you're now just more present, your audience knows when they'll see and hear from you, is that on the back end in your business, you can begin to build systems around that so that this is more of a mechanical process versus something that's always draining you every single day. Moving into our next piece, and I only have 2 more points left, so we're almost done. But moving into the next piece, I want you to begin to show some personality. I want you to begin to have some fun with this. Yes, you can still drop knowledge, it's big game, but do it in a way that shows us who you are. Because the thing about coaching is that it requires a deep personal connection between you and the client, and not deep personal like they know all of your personal business kind of way, but ultimately somebody has to trust you to open up about what's going on in their business, their career, their finances, their marriage, their life, with their kids, whatever you're coaching them on, their procrastination spirit. And they're not going to open up to you if they don't trust you. And one way to help with building that trust is for them to feel like they know you. People will begin to feel like they know you if you show a personality. If you're just being fake, we can feel that, we can tell. If you are reading from a pre-written script by somebody else, we can tell. And we begin to feel like you're more of a company than a person. And it's going to be very hard to connect and resonate with that. So show personality in a way that makes sense for you. Stop being so bland. Stop being so copy and paste. Have some fun with this. Find your own unique spin on how to get your point across in a way that works for you. And the very last point here that corresponds with that is, I don't want you to get caught up in this cycle of always teaching. I don't want you to mistake building authority for meaning giving away your entire program. If you get caught up in this cycle where you're always teaching step by step by step how to do something, you are going to begin to train your audience to get used to always getting you for free. And they're just going to keep waiting around for the next video, the next podcast, the next whatever. And there will begin to be a point where subconsciously they don't feel like they need to pay you. Or the customer journey just becomes so much longer because it's going to take them so much longer to get to the point where they want to pay you. And this was a huge mistake I made when I first started my business. I was so afraid to ask for the sale. I was so afraid to give a sales pitch. So I just would over-deliver, over-give, over-teach with the hopes that people would just be so impressed they would want to hire me. That was not the case. So I want you to begin to integrate a content mix where it's not just teaching. Yes, teach every now and then to show your skill set, but not to the point where you're giving away what's behind the paywall. So even with the 6 tips I've given you today, this barely scratches the surface. This is barely 1% of the content marketing strategies I teach to my group and private clients. Like barely. Barely. I taught a training in my Facebook group this morning on how to figure out who your ideal client is, how to go deeper into your niche beyond what people normally teach you online. And even though that 20 minutes was super specific and impactful, that was barely 5% of what we teach in our coaching programs on market research. So that's what I mean by getting out of the habit of teaching everything, but instead finding up a nice content mix where it's not just how to, but it's really getting people to buy into your philosophies and your values and your content pillars and understanding what you do and understanding what makes you unique and playing around with that. So if this is something that you are interested in taking a step further, highly encourage you to go ahead and grab that Profitable Coach Starter Guide that's linked in my bio. It has a lot of content in there on just how to begin to position yourself for increased revenue and increased client attraction. And if you have any questions, you are welcome to just comment underneath this video once the replay is up. So with that, I do want to let you know when the next session is for Coach Continuing Education Month. Just give me 1 second to pull my calendar up. So our next session will be on Monday. Let me see what time. And if you don't watch my Instagram stories, you need to make sure you're following me on Instagram and watching my stories, because that is where I actually post the topics as well as the times of the sessions. So our session for Monday will be at 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And the title of this session will be, or topic rather, will be Coaching is Not Just Q&A, proven techniques to use with your clients. So if you are looking to step up your actual coaching technique, if you are looking for things you can actually do with your clients and get away from that Q&A model that is very hard to sell in this day and age, you need to make sure that you're present for Monday's session. So with that, you all have a fabulous rest of your Thursday, and I will talk to you all in the next session. Bye.